It's Wembley! You know what that means! Tomas is hailing from parts unknown today. We are going all in for AEW's biggest show of the year. They're equivalent to WrestleMania solidly now since it's in a stadium. And I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, Tomas, but I think this All In is far superior to the original All In that they did last year.
It 100% was. And let me tell you this now. If I were to compare both shows side to side right now, it's the definition of quality over quantity. If you remember from last year, AEW set their attendance record in their first ever big stadium show like this. Wembley was a big deal. They claimed they had 80,000, ended up being 70,000. You got to check those turnstile numbers there. But the show was good, but it was shrouded in controversy. If I'm being perfectly honest, I couldn't tell you any of the matches aside from the pre-show and CM Punk and Samoa Joe, because that's what everybody was focused on. It was the Punk drama. It was.
What about MJF versus Adam Cole in the main event?
Yeah, it's hard to remember that when it's Real Glass Crimea River is taking over all the headlines.
Yeah,
but now,
we'll talk about that.
It's been a year. AEW, I feel, still has not recovered from the CM Punk drama, which is a shame.
They absolutely have not.
Yeah, it's not just the Punk drama. It's these insane decisions made by Tony Khan. We had the infamous Young Bucks showing the footage from All In last year. It's poor booking decisions, and it just feels like, you know what I have to say about AEW after this show and after watching Dynamite this past Wednesday?
What's that?
AEW right now is the equivalent of Attitude Era WWE. And you know what I mean when I say that? I could give fuck all about the undercard. For the most part. That's a lie. There are some parts about the undercard I care about.
Yeah.
It's all about the main event scene. The main event scene is on fire right now. The matches are great. I love the storylines. But I'm sorry, I'm even going to say about some matches on this show, there are just some undercard stuff that is either undercooked, underdeveloped, wrestlers we haven't seen on TV for a long time, and just the stories aren't as exciting as they should be, and it just feels like wrestlers are booked on this show just for the sake of being booked on the show. I don't know. Wrestling wise, show was fantastic. Booking wise, and just I look at it as a whole, there's still some improvements AEW can make. And you know what? I got to call myself honest. I feel like a lot of people, I get it. I know I am super overcritical of AEW, probably a little more overcritical for AEW than I am WWE, but
me too.
I just call it like it is. And you know what? If you want to call me out, I can sit here and list 10 things, 10, 15 things about WWE that I don't like right now. But it's just when AEW puts themselves in this super pretentious light, of course I'm going to over criticize it because I don't like that kind of mindset. But I'm going off on a tangent right now. I thought this was a very fun show. I'm going to have my fair share of good things as well as my fair share of bad things. Also, speaking of attendance, I'm not one of those people that gives a shit, but AEW definitely took a huge hit in attendance this time around. I don't know if it's lack of interest in the product or because the show was at Wembley 2 years in a row. They didn't turn out a big number. 20,000 less people this year. They drew about 50,000, but that's still no number to slouch at.
No way.
You can pack that many people into a stadium, that's still a win. You look at this setup, and it looks like AEW's WrestleMania.
It does.
Very impressive.
And with as passionate of a fan base as the British are, you're going to have a pretty killer show regardless. And this is my message and my response to Tomas's tangent. AEW, Tony Khan, especially to the elite, my message to you is this, after watching especially your matches, move the fuck on. That's all I'm going to say to that, because, we'll talk about Jack Perry in a little bit, but it just goes to show you, there are two, I'll count them 3 phenomenal matches that do not reference CM Punk at all, and when you're invested in the story that they're given, it's magic. And then when you reference CM Punk in your stories, it's like, you're not getting over it. Exactly, you're still not over it. It's been over a year. Move on. That's all I gotta say.
You think Pepsi Phil is sitting backstage at Monday Night Raw going, God damn the Young Bucks, God damn Jack Perry? No, he's moved on with his life.
Yeah.
No, he's told his side of the story. There's no reason to continue harping on this. So it's just move the fuck on. Yeah, the CM Punk thing was a thing, but quite frankly, I don't want to talk about it anymore. Both sides have totally moved on. You know, you look at AEW and how healthy it is right now, the main event scene especially. Swerve Strickland just signed a brand new spanking deal with AEW. He
sure did.
We got some new faces on the horizon we're going to talk about with this show. But with that being said, holy shit, we're not going to talk about these matches because we didn't watch it, but I have to. I mean, I have to reference this fucking pre-show. Strap in. So, first off, in a 16-man tag team match, you heard me right. That is 8-person per team. You have Tommy Billington, Kip Sabian, Rocky Romero, Kyle Fletcher, Lio Rush, Action Andretti, and Top Flight versus Jay Lethal, Satnam Singh, Anthony Ogogo, Arya Davari, Private Party, and the Dark Order. Where do I begin?
Who in the chat forgot that Anthony Ogogo was still employed by AEW? Raise your hand.
You can't see it, but I'm raising my hand.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like an asshole. I forgot. I thought. Oh my god, I'm so like tongue twisted right now. I thought Dark Order got released. I thought Evil Uno and Stu Grayson got released. They are back. They are literally wrestling deadlock shows as the Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
I thought they were gone. And here I am looking at this card going, Silver Reynolds with Evil Uno. I thought, what?
Don't forget Sanjay Dutt at ringside either. Yeah, accompanying AEW's Tomas down to the ring alongside Jay Lethal, who deserves so much better. Poor Jay Lethal. Poor Jay Lethal, man.
I forgot he was with the company too. You know who else I forgot was the company? Tony Nese. He wasn't on the show, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Sabian, he came back with a super cool gimmick, and here he is, just there.
Yeah. He's just fucking there.
How many more times is Lio Rush gonna retire?
Yeah, I honestly couldn't tell you, but Lio Rush's team wins. I mean, there's not really a whole lot that I can say about it because I did not watch the pre-show, admittedly, because I was sleeping.
I get this match. There's a story behind this match, but goddamn, it just feels like somebody hit the random wrestler generator in AEW, and you get this: Willow Nightingale and Tomohiro Ishii defeating Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway.
Well, hold on. This match actually did have some stakes because Nightingale and Ishii winning.
There's a story behind this match, but it's just like it's random as fuck. Well, if you don't know what's going into this and you just look at this, like, first of all, what a mismatch. Ishii. Okay, imagine this. Imagine being in this match. Imagine you're Willow Nightingale and you have Ishii as your partner. Fuck yeah. And then you're Statlander and you get Hathaway as your partner. Like, what the fuck? Like, I get Anne Hathaway's brother.
Even though they don't look like each other. They don't look like each other at all.
Stokely joke.
Well,
It's funny as fuck because someone asked him on commentary, so how's your sister Anne? And then Stokely says something, he goes like, by the way, she's adopted. I fucking love Stokely.
Stokely Hathaway, you national treasure, you. And this match actually is going to have some ramifications on the All Out card because Nightingale and Statlander are going to have a grudge match. Nightingale winning this match here actually let her pick the stipulation, which it's a Chicago street fight against Statlander, and that should be a pretty fun match on the main show. But then you want to talk about random teams. Dustin Rhodes, Sammy Guevara, Katsuyori Shibata, and Kevin Von Erich's sons up against the Undisputed Kingdom and Cage of Agony. What the hell?
Wow, Zach. Remember when the Undisputed Kingdom was supposed to be a threat in AEW?
I do. I really do.
Take the L. Yes, it sucks that MJF was gone for 6 months. Yes, you don't understand how much it pains me that Adam Cole is still out of action right now. Like, all the best wishes to him. But you know what? You had something great. Shit happens. Life happens. Take the L and move on.
Yep. And just like the multiverse saga, as Deadpool says, let's take the L and move on. Even though Tony Khan thinks that AEW has been steadily great for a year. So, which is far from the truth. Yes.
And I feel like this show is a great example of that. Anywho, with that fucking pre-show that I just had to
whoa. Let's not forget. So AEW also announced that Grand Slam is now going to be a premium live event, if we're going to use the WWE term, next February, and they're going to be going down under to Australia. Gee, sounds like a company that did that last year, and now AEW is riding off those coattails to go down to Australia. And now, this really pissed me off. I'm telling you.
But you know what? I really hope Grand Slam is like, it's going to be crazy watching a show that's upside down. Like, damn, the wrestlers are gonna have to hang on to the ropes.
Oh my
like,
god!
You know.
And it's gonna be like summer weather down there. It's like really bizarre how weather works below the equator.
Everything's gonna be upside down. It's gonna be crazy.
So Saraya walks down to the ring with her crew. That's not the Outcasts. It includes Harley Cameron, in addition to her family, including her mother, her famous mother, and she is complaining
in my ear.
Yes, she is complaining how she's not on the card, how she won the AEW Women's Championship last year in this building at the same event, and now she's not even featured on the main show. And I'm like, you're right, Saraya. You're right. You haven't really done anything of note since losing the belt. Toni Storm has absolutely eclipsed you.
In her defense, she can't really do a lot. You know, out of all of the great comeback stories we've gotten over like the past 10, 15 years, Adam Copeland, Bryan Danielson, another one that we're going to talk about on the show. Saraya's was a very interesting case where she can wrestle, but the doctor is still telling her you shouldn't do it a lot.
No.
So that sucks. And it's one of those, it is what it is. I'm glad she got her moment. But, you know, this would have been a lot cooler if it was featured on the main show, considering she's from here. She's kind of a local hero.
Who ended up interrupting her promo. Saraya's on the microphone basically claiming she's the best women's wrestler to come out of England, which the crowd immediately responds by chanting, Jamie. Jamie Hayter makes her big return after being on the shelf for over a year. Awesome to see her back in clean house. Again, would have been awesome to see Jamie Hayter on the main show since she's kind of a mainstay over there, but again.
I was just gonna say, well, Jamie Hayter, glad, very nice to see you finally return to us. I'm ready to drink some Haterade. I hope you're all ready to drink some Haterade, because when she left, she was on the cusp of being the biggest women's babyface, like homegrown by AEW. So I thought that was really cool. I really hope that they can get her back on track. And you know what? I'm gonna call my shot right now. I would like to see Jamie Hayter be the one to defeat Mercedes Moné for the TBS title. Huge fucking pop for her.
I'll do you one better. I'd like to see Jamie Hayter versus Mariah May next time they go into London for Forbidden Door next year.
As long as she's one to dethrone one of the heel champions, it's going to be a major pop, and it's going to get her right back on track. So please, Tony Khan, please be consistent with her. Book her regularly. Give her some great stuff to work with while she builds up. Don't give her the title shot right away, because, you know, we've seen what happens when you do that.
Yeah.
O'Reilly. Just take your time with her. The fans like her, and that's the thing. That's the thing that Tony Khan needs to learn. She is over. There's a lot of wrestlers, when you are organically over with the crowd, the best example I can think of is LA Knight. Keep him consistent. Keep him booked regularly. Keep them booked in big storylines. And when the payoff finally comes, we got our big payoff with LA Knight winning the United States Championship. You can do this with Jamie Hayter. You can do it. Just, I know. I get it. Both me and Zack have OCD and ADHD. I know how hard it is, how easy it is to get off track. Just please try. To quote Wolverine,
big time.
Have you been tested for ADHD?
No,
but I have several STDs that are probably linked to ADHD. Let's get into this main card. What do we have to kick off this show?
August 25th, 2024, AEW All In from Wembley Stadium for the second year in a row. No video package to start off because we get right into the action. The entrances for our opening contest actually were tacked on to the end of the 0 hour, if you want to call it that. We have a fatal four-way London ladder match for the Trios Championships. You have the Patriarchy, Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne defending against House of Black.
Save that surprise for later. There's a reason we got to call him Kill Switch right now.
House of Black, otherwise known as Ho Black, if you ask me. The Bang Bang Gang, which sounds like a really fun, awesome stable name. And Pac, Claudio Castagnoli, and Wheeler Yuta. What the fuck is that fourth team? It certainly seems like...
Doesn't Pac already have a faction? Doesn't he already have a trio that he won the trios titles with?
It certainly seems like, Tony Khan wanted to put a certain trios team in this match, but two of the combatants seem to be on their way out and to Hunter's neck of the woods. So
yeah, I think I saw them in Orlando recently, which is
yeah,
very weird and very random. But don't ask Penta. Penta will deny it.
Oh yeah, or Fenix for that matter. I think they're both WWE bound, and that'll be a huge burst to the tag team division, if you ask me. So all three titles.
Okay, here's an example.
Go ahead.
Here's an example of me. I'm gonna take a shot at WWE too. You're right. Huge shot in the tag division. Use them right, please.
How about put the Bloodline versus DIY on a pay-per-view, please? I would like that.
Triple H and Shawn Michaels, you're one of the greatest tag teams of all time. I don't understand why you guys hate tag team wrestling.
It doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense to me.
Like, so, we've all seen Penta be world champion. Fenix, don't try to make him the next Rey Mysterio, but I think he has potential as well. Just book them correctly, but let them be a tag team.
Well, hold on.
And they literally both said, we're a package deal. They are not allowed to just sign Penta or just sign Fenix.
That's what Dragon Lee is for, though, to be the next Rey Mysterio. But yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Penta. So was Sin Cara, so was Lince Dorado, so was Kalisto, so was Grand Metalik. Let's stop with the next Rey Mysterio shit and just let them be them.
Mm-hmm. Let Penta be Penta, let Fenix be Fenix once they're signed. That's all I'm going to say.
Let me say this, Zach. This match, by all sense of the term, should have been a clusterfuck, but it wasn't. This was a lot of fun.
It really was.
A little bit of everything. It had great high-fiving action. Even had some hot segments with the Kill Switch and Brody King, which were really good. I think it's funny as fuck. Some people don't like it, but I love that they have dubbed Mother Wayne 1/3 of the Trios champions. Like she even got involved at one point. There was some really good stuff here and some, I don't want to say some scary spots, but some very crazy spots in this match. When you have 12 people in a ladder match, I think this was everybody's worry about WrestleMania with that huge, 6-team ladder match?
It was another 12-person ladder match, and that was a lot of fun too.
Exactly. Both of those matches should have, in all intents and purposes, been clusterfucks, but this was not. I had a lot of fun watching this match.
Me too. The story in the early goings of the match is that the Father of the Year, Christian Cage, is a coward, so he's running away from the ladder match, a match that he helped make famous along with Adam Copeland and the Hardy Boys.
I think he just straight up left during the match too.
Yeah, like everybody gets their shit in the early goings, and then once everybody is down, then the turtlenecked douchebag runs back down to the ring to try and pick up the scraps, and then all three other teams beat him up on the outside. Great, satisfying moment there. But then, to your point, Shayna Wayne, Mother Wayne, starts climbing the ladder to try and win the Trios Championships for her team, and then what happens is the Ass Boys pull her down. Of all people. Who would have thought that the Ass Boys would be awesome baby faces? I did not think that. I never would have thought that in a million years.
Honestly, the Bang Bang Gang has been so endearing, and I know we've had our fair share to say about, Jay White should be used better, but when you have the Ass Boys and Juice Robinson especially, they have just won us over in such a crazy way, and they're probably one of the most consistent acts on Collision if you watch the show. So it was really cool to see these guys kind of come full circle. And I think Juice Robinson threatens to slam her through a table, which honestly, I'd like to have seen Mother Wayne take the bump.
Man, props to her if she would have ended up doing that. But the Ass Boys are on fire. They actually hit a very impressive 310 to Yuma on Brody, of all people, which is very impressive. Claudio comes in, and I love Claudio. Who can't love Claudio? Giving Juice the giant swing, and then Juice is on the outside. Pac hits a Red Arrow splash all the way to the outside, and Juice catches him. Very scary spot, but again, in a big ladder match like this, you got to have scary spots like that. It's bound to happen. What? No, it's a Red Arrow. It's the Red Arrow. I don't know what you're talking about. Arrow. It's the same move. And
Stephen Amell is the Green Arrow.
Another thing that I'll appreciate about AEW is that I really do appreciate all the movie references in naming the finishing maneuvers. For example, the Prodigy Nick Wayne's finisher is called Wayne's World, which I love. I freaking love. And I just mentioned the Guns. Their finisher is 310 to Yuma. So I dig it, man. Nick Wayne, again, this was really a spot for that kid to shine. I think he's got a lot of promise for sure. If Roxanne Perez already did not have the Prodigy nickname, Nick Wayne would easily take that nickname and just run with it for sure. No doubt about it.
I wish they would put a little more focus on this kid because he could easily be AEW's Dirty Dom. Like, he's so easy to hate. I mean, he's being mentored by the biggest douchebag in history in Christian Cage. I mean, Christian Cage even got him to denounce his own dead father. And he even convinced him to bring in his mother after Christian Cage said some terrible things like, I'm going to slide into your mom's DM since she's single now. Like, if anybody said that to me, they wouldn't have any teeth left. What does this kid do? He embraces it. And he gets her to join.
Oh, Jesus Christ. It seems like only yesterday that kid turned heel. It's been almost a year. Wheeler Yuta is climbing a ladder. Yuta hasn't really done much of note in this thing. Christian Cage sprays some of Mother Wayne's dreaded hairspray in Yuta's face. Cage is up there all alone, and Juice Robinson stops him. Mother Wayne is trying to spray Juice now, and Juice Robinson actually sprays Mother Wayne in the face with it, and it's like the crowd pops huge for that. Might have gotten the biggest reaction all match, which is so crazy to me.
I think that's when he threatens to slam Mother Wayne through the table, but then Killswitch intervenes, and I think he ends up choke slamming Robinson through the table. So good spot there. That was
really
great.
Good spot. Yeah, Killswitch also gives Juice a choke slam off the apron through a table, which does not break. Ow.
Which was ow. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Juice Robinson. I would argue Juice Robinson's the MVP of this match of all people. Remember, like a year and a half ago when we were like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" Next to Toni Storm at WrestleCon.
Well, I mean, I knew who he was, but honestly,
I did too.
I just didn't care.
Yeah,
I just did not care. I knew he was sort of a big deal in Japan, and I remember when he came over to the States to be in TNA. But I remember being excited for that. Watched him in TNA, and I was like, I'm not impressed.
Yeah.
Like, ever since, the Bullet Club Gold, the Bang Bang Gang stuff, it's just like, again, when you give these wrestlers a good shtick to develop with, they become endearing. You actually start to cheer for them. And now I think Robinson's great. I think the whole group is great.
Yeah, no, it's a very fun group. And again, it's kind of bullshit how they stripped them of the belts, even though they're a group of 4. They could have used the Freebird rule to defend those titles after Jay White got hurt.
100%. I think they were just looking for an excuse to get them off of them, and
better yet, an excuse to turn them babyface.
Exactly.
And it just seems very contrived.
Beat them with some bullshit way. Which on Collision they've been doing a great job of that, but it just really goes. When you have too many titles in one company, it's really hard to just keep things consistent and keep these belts featured. But now, like, after this match, I would like to see. I feel like this should revive the trios division. Give it a little more. Give it a little more attention, and that's why you just shouldn't create a title if you're not going to upkeep it and like keep teams. Come on, Tony Khan, you have enough team. You have enough people on the fucking roster. Even if you have to do some other trios, I would take random trios any day over the week over random tag teams.
So, with that said, Christian Cage and Luchasaurus are left all alone after Christian spears Buddy Murphy through a ladder in the corner, which is a gnarly spot as well. How is Christian Cage not retired by this point? It's just... that man is a miracle. He's a medical miracle. So
he is. 10 years ago, he retired due to concussions and neck problems.
Correct.
Here is a ladder match.
So, Luchasaurus is helping Christian climb, right? Pac then climbs out the other side, knocks Christian off, and Luchasaurus can do nothing but watch Pac grab one of the trio's titles. And yeah, so the Death Triangle 2.0 wins the trio's titles. Now, is it safe for us to call them the Bastard Combat Club?
I would love that, because
that would be awesome.
What's going on Dynamite right now? The BCC isn't really a thing anymore.
No, it's not. It's not. Regal's gone. Regal is long gone. So
yeah, we will talk about that later. But considering this was kind of a thrown together trio, this was still super fun, and I hope they do something. I hope they do some cool stuff with this team. I'm a little scared because Pac has already moved on, and he already has something going on at All Out. But this was super fun. I had a lot of fun watching this. I'm going to give it 4 stars because very consistent, very clean, and a lot of fun when honestly this should have been a clusterfuck.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 4 also. I really enjoyed this match. Like a lot, I think I prefer this one over the WrestleMania tag title ladder match because I feel like this one had a lot more like consistent story going on just within the match. Like, and the only story that we really had in the Mania match was the Awesome Truth Judgment Day stuff. So,
Yeah.
with that said, and again, like the rules are a lot more simpler in this match as opposed to like, okay, we're gonna split up the tag titles now. This
Also,
one,
yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I really did appreciate you only had to pull down one of the titles. Like there's
yep.
3 titles, but literally Pac takes down one of the titles and the bell rings.
And they made that very clear from the beginning too. So kudos to AEW for doing this version of a 12-man ladder match better for a set of team titles, if you will. I don't want to call them the tag titles or the trios titles. It's different.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was great. Believe it or not, the next match is the one I was most excited for.
yeah,
This was the most built up. It had the most heat. It was the best feud building up to this pay-per-view. Finally, after what, a year of this friendship that finally crumbled, Mariah May is cashing in her Owen Hart Cup Championship match against Timeless Toni Storm in a true grudge match here. After months and months and months of friendship, seemingly out of nowhere, after Mariah May wins the Women's Owen Cup tournament, she turns on her friend. She absolutely just decimates Toni Storm. And you know what? I don't want to call it a cliche. It's a classic wrestling trope. It's a classic wrestling tale. But when done right, it is amazing. And I was so hyped for this match.
So let me tell you my big issue with this thing, and everything you said is absolutely correct. This is easily, for me, the best built match on this show, which is crazy considering that Bryan Danielson in a career-threatening match is main eventing. This was the most well-built story because it was long-term. It was set up practically a year ago up to this stage, almost a year ago. Because when did Timeless Toni Storm become timeless? It was shortly after last year's All In.
Yeah, it was around it. Even during that 4-way All In match, she was still like slowly transforming into the character. It took her losing her title to, totally quote unquote losing her marbles. And I love gimmicks like this where they start off heel, but they just get so over that you just can't help but turn them babyface. And when you do, it works. It fits like a glove. The best example I can think of is like Rhea Ripley or Broken Matt Hardy, a gimmick that should not be liked, but they're just so good at it. But you can't help but respect it.
Yeah, you can't help but respect Toni Storm's longevity in the business because apparently she was around Wembley Stadium 100 years ago. Because they had like this, she had this picture like of her just in the middle of Wembley Stadium, and it said "Timeless Toni Storm, 1924." Is this a Shining reference to you guys? It seems like a Shining reference.
That's because she's timeless.
Yeah, no, I mean, it makes sense to me, but it reminded me of the ending of The Shining, which is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. Because it's like you don't know what exactly it means, but it zooms in on Jack Nicholson's face, and he's been in this hotel for over 100 years, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? This is so weird.
I also have to give AEW, got to give AEW the credit here. They are getting better at these quote unquote WrestleMania entrances. Like they're still not on the same level pageantry. They probably don't have the budget for all the props and extras that WWE uses. But, if you're going to book a quote unquote WrestleMania style match, I want it to feel special. And during this entrance, it felt special.
Totally. I'm right there with you. And this match overall, fan-freaking-tastic wrestling. This is easily the best match out of Toni Storm's near 9-month-long reign that she's had with the AEW Women's Championship. Just so much heat and so much bad blood going into this. Literally as well, because Mariah May actually did end up gigging in this thing after taking a Storm Zero on the steel steps, which, ouch. Mariah May's a badass.
This also has to be the most consistently booked match on the pay-per-view because they didn't rely on the old AEW tropes, the kicking out of the finishers, the no-selling the crazy spots. This was just consistently worked. I feel like in the beginning, Storm was just focused on hurting Mariah May, like totally throwing her around the ring, throwing her on the outside, throwing her into the barricade. And then we get a pretty crazy spot, in my opinion. So Mariah May gets control of the match, and then she just walks up to her own mother and slaps the shit out of her.
Her mother, who was sitting in the front row, who had hugged Timeless Toni Storm earlier, like, yeah, what a bitch, man. Like, who would slap their own mother like that?
Damn, have you ever seen that before?
What did her mother do to her?
Like even The Miz, when he was a babyface, still loved his dad when he was in the audience. Like,
yeah.
Level of heel right here.
Better yet, even when The Miz was a heel, his dad was like healing with him. So
yes,
Mariah May was just like out of this world in this match. She even gives Nigel McGuinness a kiss on the head, and from that point forward, Nigel McGuinness is the happiest little gnome at ringside, and he's sitting there and he's like, oh, Mariah May is gorgeous. She's the glamour. She's gonna win this thing. I'm working on it. I'm sorry.
To be fair, if I got a kiss on the cheek from Mariah May, I would become her #1 fan too. Just saying.
Yeah. Fair enough. Nigel McGuinness, phenomenal throughout this entire show, as we'll talk about. But especially when he's supporting heels, like, he's so fucking hilarious.
You can tell his favorite commentator was Bobby the Brain Heenan. There's many Bobby the Brain Heenan like mannerisms.
Would you stop? So these two
especially
go in
for his hatred of Bryan Danielson, who is the equivalent of his Hulk Hogan.
Oh yeah. Oh, big time. I can't wait to see that match eventually. Spoiler warning.
Talk about McGuinness is he's retired.
McGuinness is very much retired. He's never wrestling again. To your point, there are finisher kickouts as the match is starting to wind down. Toni Storm hits that running hip attack into a Storm Zero. Great freaking near fall.
Chic music.
Oh, I didn't know that had a name. So May and Storm both take each other to Dick Kick City, if you will. Low blows. Like, okay. Okay.
Hey, I don't care if you're a man or a woman. You get hit.
It still hurts. It still hurts. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't know because I'm a man and I know it hurts down there if I'm kicked that way. So, I don't know.
This match was very, very, very good. It warranted the blood. Felt like a true grudge match. Believe it or not, my biggest nitpick about this match is the finish.
Really?
So, Mariah May brought down to the ring the bloody shoe that she used to absolutely just decimate Toni Storm when this heel turn initially happened. And she grabs the shoe because, Toni Storm always says, watch for the shoe. And she threatens to hit Toni Storm with it. Toni Storm kicks her and takes the shoe, and she's getting ready to hit May with it. And the crowd is egging her on. They want her to do it. But let me tell you this. Why would Toni Storm do that when she would get disqualified? Why would she threaten to hit Mariah May with a weapon when she knows she's going to lose the match?
Well, she would also retain the title. Yeah. So it shouldn't be too much of a problem. She shouldn't have hesitated that much. But I guess it's the memory of just looking into Mariah's eyes, and this is a woman that she loved at one point, and she just couldn't bring herself to do it. And she saw her protege and her understudy bleeding up a storm, no pun intended. And then Mariah May takes advantage of the situation and pins Toni Storm off of Toni's own finishing maneuver, the Storm Zero. I love that. Stolen finishers to end the match. Love that. Love that trope. We don't see it enough. But we have a brand new AEW Women's World Champion, key point world, Mariah May. She should be the most important woman on the roster.
I get where you're going with this, but at the same time, it's just like, I see Toni Storm hesitating, and it's like, she would get disqualified if she hit her with the shoe. So I don't see the point of even, it should have been like no, I'm not going to hit you with the shoe because I'm going to lose the match. I'm just going to straight up beat you. I feel like that would have worked if there was no title on the line. You know what I mean? If this was a straight up.
Yeah, but the title's on the line, and it's the champion.
It took me out. I'm not going to lie. It kind of took me out of the immersion for a second. Because we all know the women's championship is the most important thing to Toni Storm.
Yep. It should be the most important thing in the women's division as well. Mariah May is atop the food chain. She's the most important woman on the roster, not named Mercedes Moné for some reason. Mariah May beats her after 15 minutes. She takes her new title home with her. I'm giving this match 4 stars. To your point, yeah, the ending did feel a little bit contrived the more we're talking about it. My biggest issue with the match is the placement on the card. The fact that this is the most well-built story that's going into the show, and you have it going on second, that screams WrestleMania 33 to me. Remember Kevin Owens and Jericho going on as early as they did?
Yep.
That was
two guys that should have been wrestling for a world title but had to take a backseat to Bill Goldberg. It still frustrates me to this day.
Frustrates me that Mariah May is now taking a backseat to Mercedes Moné. Tony Khan, Mercedes is not that fucking important. She's carrying a mid-card title.
We will talk about her when we get to her. Way down the line in the show. I'm going to match your 4 stars despite my nitpicks of the finish. This was great. This was fantastic. Part of me near the end of this match wanted to see Toni Storm retain just to get the feel-good moment. But, we had to have this rivalry culminate. It's like better to do it here. This is like if you had her retain like at WrestleMania and then just had her drop the title at Backlash. What's the point? What's the extra 30 days? It feels more important here. So I'm glad they pulled the trigger on Mariah May. When Mariah May first got signed to AEW and they first paired her with Toni Storm, I thought it was the greatest decision ever. This is a good example of long-term storytelling to get the person over. So now they're a star, and now Mariah May is a star. If Tony Khan threw her out in a world title match, she'd be working dark matches on Rampage right now. But she's not. She's the women's world champion, and it's great.
This is a woman who 8 years ago was a model for WWE Shop, and now she's carrying around the competition's world championship in the women's division. So good for her, man.
Pretty sure, even though it's illegal, Triple H is probably shooting her text messages going, hey, when you're done there,
you want to
come over here?
Come on over.
Here.
Yep.
Is here. Io Sky is here.
Indeed. Oh boy. I mean, where do we even start with this one? I'm so sick and tired of this feud. Chris Jericho defending the For the World Championship against Hook one more time. If Hook does not win his father's gimmick championship back here, he can never challenge for it ever again. Jericho sings himself down to the ring with Fozzy once again for the second year in a row.
Who fucking cares?
Who fucking cares? Who fucking
cares? It's not 2001.
I have 3 words for you. Fuck that tree. Fuck that tree.
Okay. So when did Jericho win this title? Was it Double or Nothing?
Dynasty.
Okay. I didn't try to defend it, but I tried to see the good in everything. And trust me, even with this match, I tried to see the good in this match. I tried to look at it as Hook is being booked. That rhymed. He's being booked against, regardless of what you have to say about Jericho, he's still a veteran. He's still a multiple-time world champion. He's still a pioneer. Hook is still being, set up against a huge wrestling star at a huge wrestling show. He's super over, and he's kind of been booked in a storyline where you want to see him win. I want to see Hook win, but at the same time, I don't care about Jericho. I have a message to the fans. Stop saying hi guys with him because you're just inflating his ego, and he's probably going to go on interviews and saying,
thanks guys. Thanks guys.
The gimmick is working. It's working as a heel. No, he should be getting go away heat. And the more you do it along with him, it's just going to justify what he's doing in the match. I know Big Bill is over with the fans. I don't really care though.
What's the fucking appeal?
Keith. So I have a couple of issues with it, other than, the main issues. And I'm going to give the match credit where credit is due. Hook is over. They're trying to get him over. But I heard a really good point that I agree with. You gotta get him out. You gotta get him out of this FTW title bubble. You gotta. Because he held the title for like a year? And then he dropped it to Jack Perry just to win it back to All In last year. And here he is again. He held the title for months and months and months. Got trapped in the Jericho vortex, dropped the title to Jericho, and here he is challenging for it again. Like, you got to get him out of this bubble if you want to see this kid grow, and grow is what I want to see him do. There were some cool spots in this match. I'm not going to lie. I love the finish. That kind of was a feel-good moment for me. But the match was just average. You know, the what was it? The fucking the cricket ball spot. Like, that's
Yeah.
what the FTW title's been turned to. The FTW title in ECW was kind of just Taz's homemade trophy in ECW, but now it's been turned into the fucking gimmick hardcore match. And the gimmick hardcore match can be fun sometimes, but you can't sit here and make fun of WWE for doing those all for over the years, like, you know, the Tricker Street fights, the Miracle on 34th Street fights, but then praise it when AEW does it because it's a little silly.
Yeah. Yeah. Silly is putting it very nicely. Yeah. Hook is choking Jericho out with a cricket bat, which literally says "Hi Guys" on it. It's painted on it, like in the sense that Jericho put it there. Big Bill pulls out a barbed wire board and puts it on a table outside for him to bump on at the end as Hook is beating up everybody. He takes off his eye patch that he had on, and he's like, "I can see, motherfucker." He puts the red rum on Jericho, and Brian Keith tries distracting the referee, which this is finally enough for Taz to get up there and even the odds for his son, puts Brian Keith in the Kanta Hajime, and Brian Keith is tapping out on the outside. Jericho taps out in the ring, and this feud is fucking over finally.
Now,
Hook,
gotta say,
yeah,
seeing Hook and his father put on dueling submissions was really cool.
that was awesome. That was a super heartwarming moment. So,
And I know we haven't gotten to this pay-per-view yet, but correct me if I'm wrong, because I think Solomon Monster brought this point up. I think this is the first time Taz has gotten physical since One Night Stand 2006.
I think so. I think it is. Yep. That would make sense.
That was really cool. It was kind of cool to see Hook win back the title and put this feud to rest. But my issue is it's the FTW bubble. They got to get him out of there. He's kind of like male Jade Cargill. He's trapped in a bubble and they won't take him out of it.
Ain't that the truth?
With that being said, even though it was a cool moment for Hook, I'm going to give the match 2 stars because I just really didn't care.
I'm going to go 2.5. 2.5. You know, it was there. I don't care about Jericho anymore. I don't care about Big Bill.
Jericho has just fallen every day one in AEW. You look at him now compared to like the first episode of Dynamite. The Inner Circle was cool. The Inner Circle looked like a threat. He had, you know, a revitalized Jake Hager. He had the new kid in Sammy Guevara, and he had a bloodthirsty tag team in Santana and Ortiz, which I fucking miss so much. That was a cool stable. And you look at the Jericho Appreciation Society. It's kind of lame. And now you look at the Learning Tree, which is really lame. And it's like, what does Jericho do next? Yeah, I'll tell you what Jericho does next. He'll do whatever the fuck he wants because he's going to keep thinking up of shit, and Tony Khan is too much of a coward to tell him no.
He fucking retires. That's what he does next. So, yeah, it's at this point it is what it is, and I'm indifferent towards it now. But speaking of indifferent, this next match.
Oh my fucking God. If I swear to God, if I see these two teams in another match, I'm going to go insane. 3-way tag team title match. The Young Bucks defending against the Acclaimed and fucking FTR.
Like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, this match was cool 4 years ago when there was no audience and we all wanted to see it. And then I was like, all right. Yeah, like, literally, I could never see this match again and be totally fine with it. Because what they did at Full Gear 2020, I'll be an objective man. That, in my opinion, that was a perfect tag team match. It was a dream match that we all wanted to see. They put all their spots in. There were stolen finishers. I love that match still. But ever since then, they haven't caught that same magic. Even last year at All In, when the whole CM Punk drama was going on backstage. These two teams just didn't have great chemistry. And it wasn't because of the drama. It was because these fans are sick of seeing these two going at it.
And, you know, I defended their ladder match at Double or Nothing. I thought that was a fun enough match. But I'm tired of these teams. And let me tell you another reason why I'm tired of these teams. The Acclaimed are finally starting to pick up steam again.
Finally!
Over. And, you know, I want to see them win these tag team titles. But I was very, very, very frustrated when on Dynamite, they're like, oh, no, you want a title match? You got to beat FTR. I'm like, I'm getting to the point. I'm about to turn into Cody Rhodes and say, fuck the Revival. Like, FTR is cool. Don't get me wrong. They're a fan.
I love them.
Team, but I'm tired of AEW always going back to them. And, you know, FTR is the reason why the Acclaim lost the tag team titles in the first place. FTR's deal was coming up. They weren't getting booked on TV. So Tony Khan said, okay, Acclaimed, we're going to have you drop to the Ass Boys, and the Ass Boys are going to drop to FTR. I'm still bitter over it. I won the match. I wanted to see the Acclaim win this match and win the tag team titles, but they didn't. And there's a reason why they didn't. And honestly, I don't think the means justify the end.
Why? Wait, what's the reason you heard?
Do we want to just skip to the finish, because I don't remember a lot in this match?
Fuck it, yeah. I mean, like, the Acclaims, like, Max Caster, I'll give these guys credit, because as someone who met them and knows, like, how they are professionally, I'm glad that Caster did not bring up Punk in his rap. I'm so fucking happy he didn't do that, because at least the Acclaims have moved the fuck on, you know?
Yeah.
So I mean,
the Bucks retain. And I was like, you know what? If the Acclaim weren't going to win, I would rather see the Bucks retain than FTR win. But the thing about the Bucks retaining that pisses me off is they are pushing it on screen, on television, that the Bucks don't defend the titles.
Why not strip them of them?
Because I mean, they're EVPs.
There were some cool moments that reminded me of TakeOver Orlando, where you have the odd couple pairings between the Acclaimed and FTR hitting each other's finishing maneuvers. Like, I believe Matt and Max hit an EVP trigger on Harwood. Caster and Cash Wheeler then hit a Shatter Machine on Matthew. And I believe I don't know if there was a Scissor Me Timbers that was performed on the Acclaimed, but yeah.
No, but they did perform the move on someone else in the match.
They did.
So, like I said, the Bucks retained, which kind of made me groan, but whatever. The reason why the Bucks retain, because then the grizzled young vets come out.
Yep.
Zack Gibson and James Drake. They hit the scene. And this is another issue that I have. You know, I feel like this moment would have been a lot cooler if the grizzled young vets already didn't show up in AEW.
Yeah,
it would have been really cool to see them just like as an out of nowhere surprise. But apparently they are all elite and they are going to be with AEW for a while now. That's cool. I love GYB. I think they were a very underrated tag team. You know how I love teams. But you know what? I don't think the grizzled young vets are over in the sense of the Acclaimed are. I would rather
no way.
Back here. And then
no way.
And I get it. They're in London. They wanted the big moment to be in London. And I get it. If Acclaim would have won and then GYV would have attacked them, that would have taken the steam out of Acclaim winning the titles. You know, if this wasn't London, I would have said, have the Acclaim win the titles and then GYV attack them on Dynamite. But it is what it is. This is what they're building towards. And we don't know if GYV are going to be babyfaces or heels. They're heavily tweener because they go up and confront the Bucks saying they're coming for their titles. They even do that on Dynamite, but then they straight up attack FTR and the Acclaim.
Well, I mean, my thing is, like, I feel like GYV would be a much better heel team, because then we'd get the crowd doing chants like this: if you hate Gibson, shoes off. If you hate Gibson, shoes off.
Yeah, you know, it's just, again, I think GYV are cool. I don't even think they're going to be the ones that take the titles off the Bucks. I want it to be the Acclaimed. Strike while the iron is still hot. It sounds like the iron hasn't even cooled off yet on the Acclaim. It's been forced to cool off because they haven't been featured on TV. They're still very, 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 very over.
Yeah. I love to see the Acclaimed back on top of the tag team mountain. Like, I remember how over they were at All Out a couple of years ago when they were challenging Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland for the belts. That's a random tag team, isn't it? Man, oh man. Yeah.
But I'll give the match 3.25 stars. It was fine.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad match at all, but it's like, just keep the Bucks and FTR as far away from each other as possible from now on. Like, let's have the Bucks, if you want them to really recapture the magic of what made them so fucking awesome a decade ago, have them go up against every single other team under the sun. I don't want to see them wrestle FTR again. Like, never again.
Is it just me, or does it feel like there was a point where I said that AEW was the place for tag team wrestling? They had a better tag division than WWE. They had a better tag division than NXT. They had a better tag division than TNA. Like, AEW was the spot to go to see tag teams. You had great tag teams like Private Party and the Young Bucks and the Lucha Bros and Jurassic Express. And there was just so many unique tag teams in AEW. But now recently, it just feels like it's either the Young Bucks, FTR, or a thrown together tag team. And that is the last thing I get out of AEW.
No. Yeah, no, no more of the Bucks like defending against random teams like Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston anymore. I don't want that. You know, don't want that.
Yeah. Now, up next is something really fun.
This is honestly, I've been seeing people like on Twitter saying that the Casino Gauntlet match is the newest, coolest concept since the Royal Rumble match. And it's very similar to a Royal Rumble match, but the difference is the Casino Gauntlet can end at any time. We don't know how many fucking guys are in the match. We don't know if a pinfall or submission, like, you know, we don't know when the ending is coming. So the countdown clock comes on and we see someone new come out just like a Royal Rumble. But unlike the Rumble, it actually plays your advantage to be either number 1 or number 2. You want either one of those. So number 1 is Orange Cassidy.
It's kind of like a weird amalgamation between the Royal Rumble and Money in the Bank. Because apparently the rules are now the winner of this match gets a title shot that they can cash in at any time.
Yeah.
So this had a lot of cool elements. And these first 2 people this is a match I want to see one-on-one now.
Orange Cassidy comes out with like the laziest pyro in a big stadium ever. Like, you know how they like you know how they like zoom out usually on WrestleManias or even just outside Wembley. We get a drone shot overlooking the entirety of the stadium from like bird's eye almost, and you get like beautiful fireworks shows around like the entire perimeter of the stadium, like right at the very top. Orange Cassidy makes his entrance, and we just see one little sparkler during the drone shot. I'm like,
I love it.
You fucking assholes. I wanted more pyro. Yeah. Especially to this theme music. He goes in there with Kazuchika Okada, the Continental Champion, who I'm sure was given an early spot by the Young Bucks, the Evie Petties, just to give him as much of an advantage as possible. So these guys go at it for a little bit, and just like, I want this match one-on-one. These two would have a very entertaining Continental title match, I think.
They would. They actually would. And it would be so fun to watch to see, like, Okada, like, counter the hands in the pockets, like, make fun of Cassidy. It would be a really cool match, and I want to see it now.
Yeah. With the belt on the line. So we don't have much time to enjoy this nonsense, because in at number 3 is who, Tomas?
Nigel fucking McGuinness.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought? This was so fucking cool.
Commentary 3 matches ago, must have snuck away when nobody saw him, got into his gear, and I popped so hard for this. For people who do not, in 2011, Nigel McGuinness's career was cut short due to a neck injury. This was right on the cusp of him coming to WWE, which is a goddamn shame. It was a crime that McGuinness wasn't allowed to perform to his best extent, not only in WWE, but he was mishandled in TNA. He never got back to Ring of Honor. He didn't get to enjoy like the beginning of AEW. So
Time out. What are you talking about? They didn't mishandle Nigel McGuinness. I remember Desmond Wolfe in TNA, but I don't remember Nigel McGuinness.
Got some bad news for you. That was him, buddy.
I know. I was just pulling your leg, but anyway, this was so cool. And he walks out there and the crowd reacts in kind for one of their countrymen, no less. They're singing the Seven Nation Army song with his name in the tune as well. And he looks so good too.
He did. He looked like $1 million, and he was so revitalized. He went in there. He's doing all the great hits. My favorite McGuinness spot has to be he gets thrown into the ropes. Also, this is a man who had a broken neck and who hasn't wrestled for 13 years, and it looks like he hasn't missed a beat. He gets thrown into the ropes. He does a headstand on the turnbuckle, and when the opponent runs at him, he like lays his legs out like red light, green light, Don't hear me. It is so great. It's a McGuinness staple, and it's my favorite thing that he does.
It's so damn cool. So the crowd, I think you still got a chance thrown in there, and if there weren't, they were absolutely warranted here. Man,
for his age, he looked in amazing shape. He looked like he never left.
He was lean. He was very lean. He looked like he got in shape for this. He must have known about this preparation. He must have been cleared for months. And I thought he was cleared when he was calling out Danielson at Dynasty, and I thought we were going to get the match between him and Danielson here. But I mean, this was a really, really nice surprise here.
Yeah, and here's the thing: a great storyline element they brought up here. This is so clever. Like they said that Nigel McGuinness came out of retirement just to be in this match, just to win, just in the mere instance that Bryan Danielson wins the world title. He wants to be the one to take it off of him. Can you name another pettier person? Can you name another bigger hater?
Matthew Jackson, Nicholas Jackson, Jack Perry.
Nigel McGuinness literally said, I hate you so much that I'm going to come out of retirement to enter a gauntlet just because you are challenging for the world title, just in case you win. I'm going to be the one to take it off you.
I mean, AJ Styles flew halfway across the flat earth that he claims exists to cost LA Knight in Australia. So, I don't know who can be a bigger hater than that.
I don't know. I think Nigel McGuinness took the cup. He took the trophy for biggest hater.
He took the House Cup in Hogwarts because it's England. But anyway, out comes Kyle O'Reilly at number 4, and this poor man, like it was so cool to see him come back a few months ago, but this guy just has no direction right now. Absolutely no direction.
He's in the conglomeration.
A fucking random ass stable. Yeah, I know. Orange Cassidy, Stun Dog Millionaire on somebody. Kyle and Nigel get into it, which is, man, I never thought I would see that match. Oh, man. Yeah, talk about stiff. Here comes another Englishman, Tomas, and Zack Sabre Jr. What is it with Englishmen named Zack who are really good at this wrestling thing? I feel like if I came of English descent and I had some sorts of accents, I'd be really good at pro wrestling. I don't know what you think.
Buddy. I'm kidding.
anyway, yeah. And people
Sabre Jr. is that if you saw him down the street, he looks like a guy that would just go up to be like, "Oh, hey, how's it going? You want to go grab a latte at Starbucks?" And then you find out he's a pro wrestler and he could tie you up in a pretzel and break your ankles.
Yeah, so, by the way, wrestlers named Zack who actually spell their first name correctly, mind you, with a K. I will not accept any other spelling of Zack.
You mean ZH?
Z-A-C-K. No, CH does not exist. So what we have, Zack Sabre Jr., by the way, is coming off of the G1 Climax victory that he just had, and the commentators were talking about that. He faces off with Nigel because they're both English and they knew it would pop the crowd. In comes Roderick Strong. He, again, doesn't really get much of a reaction, especially after losing the International Championship. Undisputed Kingdom really has had no direction since then. It's sad to see.
Random thing I just want to yell out. Roderick Strong, stop screaming people's names. It's not funny anymore.
Well, and also,
it only made sense without him, Cole.
Yeah, to your point, also, yeah, Roddy, stop screaming people's names because we know you're facing them. It's like the out of nowhere gag that DIY is doing on Twitter right now. Tommaso, don't scream out of nowhere before you're about to hit Randy with the RKO because he knows you're coming if you scream. That's.
Yes.
I love it. So out comes who next, Tomas? Who do we have?
Is this the big surprise?
No, this is your boy, Mark Briscoe.
Oh yes, Mark Briscoe, the Ring of Honor World Champion. He is out next. Cool to see him. He's a world champion, and they're not doing anything with him.
Yeah, world champion in Ring of Honor, which is again a project that Tony Khan picked up and hasn't really done a damn thing with it since he announced he was the new owner. Then you want to talk about haters. Nigel McGuinness is a hater. Out comes Hangman Adam Page. Now, Hangman Page is entering this gauntlet just based on the sole reason that somehow Swerve Strickland ends Bryan Danielson's career in the main event tonight and retains the title. So if he wins this gauntlet, if Swerve is still the champion, then he actually has his shot at Swerve again. So
you know what? Him and Nigel McGuinness are like have a picnic together.
Right? Yeah, invite AJ with them too. So that's what I think. Yeah, so Orange Cassidy goes in there and he's making a fiery comeback on Hangman Page. Hits him with a Superman punch and a beach break for 2 because Mark Briscoe stops the count. In at number 9 is Double J, Jeff Jarrett. J-E-double-F, J-A-double-R-E-double-T. Like, who? Yeah?
Okay, what happened here? Like, I didn't watch Dynamite for a few weeks. Why does everybody love Jeff Jarrett now?
Because
he was a goddamn hero.
Because you don't understand. Jeff Jarrett is the last outlaw, and ever since Sting retired back at Revolution, AEW has needed that lovable legend that everybody loves cheering for on his final legs of his career. And Jeff Jarrett has slotted into that position perfectly. I feel like Jeff Jarrett entering the Owen Hart tournament to try and win a title shot at Wembley for his, like, at one point, best friend, who was his tag team partner when Owen died and fell from the ceiling. Like, everybody latched onto Jarrett, and Jarrett was the sentimental favorite in that tournament. So, ever since that point, people have kind of been starting to cheer for him. And never thought I would have seen the day where the guy who was running TNA roughshod in the early days of Impact, never would have thought he would have been such a lovable babyface here. And ain't he great?
I don't know what it is about Jarrett. As great of a heel as he is, I would definitely put him like top 10 heels of all time. When he turns up as babyface, you just can't help but like him.
Yeah. Ain't he great? Ain't he great? Yeah, Hangman Page eventually gets the upper hand on Jarrett, and Jeff Jarrett's wife, the former Karen Angle, jumps onto the apron, and Hangman Page eventually gets a hold of Karen. When out next is one of the biggest surprises of the night, Tomas. Who do we got?
Biggest surprise if you haven't been on the internet, but in all seriousness, all jokes aside, we have the AEW debut of the one, the only, Ricochet.
Yep. And you said Ricochet was dead to you, huh? Because Braun Breaker beat the shit out of him on Raw to write him off?
Hey, whoa, no. Hey now. I meant that in the sense that he was literally dead. Like,
yeah.
They had to scrape him off the pavement. They had to scrape him off that car hood.
Yeah. In WWE's logic, Ricochet was killed off by a big, mad, badass dog.
That happened. It's a damn shame WWE and AEW can't play nice, because I would love it if Braun Breaker came out on Monday Night Raw and said, like, you see that jabroni I put through a car? Yeah, he got so scared. I hurt him so bad, he had to run off to a different wrestling company.
Yep. Man, I wish that were the case. But Ricochet comes out and he does exactly what you would expect. Ricochet is one of the most athletic people that has ever stepped into the wrestling business, doing a lot of flippy-dippy shit. And yeah, I can't wait to see what else he does. A springboard shooting star press onto a bunch of dudes on the floor. Again, Ricochet just makes it look so damn easy, y'all. He's just so good at what he does. So, out next, you have Christian Cage, number 11, coming up fresh off the London ladder match in the opener. He's limping out there. He's really selling it just like Kevin Owens did in that one Royal Rumble. Christian and Ricochet mix it up. That's a match I didn't think I would see. Holy shit. Page hits a wonderful-looking buckshot lariat. Toni Schiavone really wants...
Ricochet has a father Christian Cage can make fun of?
Jesus, relax. I mean, I know Ricochet has a girlfriend on the other side that Christian can slide into the DMs of, so... just saying that. Just saying.
No, we only like widows.
Yeah, so buckshot lariat on Ricochet, Rainmaker from Okada onto Jeff Jarrett. I mean, just spots galore. Mark with a froggy bow onto Roddy. Nigel faces off against Mark and Kyle. Tower of London neckbreaker on Kyle. Yeah, Christian hits a spear on Nigel. No cover, because out next is who? Who comes out, Tomas?
With Titantron and everything. And I had to do a double take because I heard it. I was like, oh, kill switch. Oh, no. It's Luchasaurus. Luchasaurus marches his way down to the ring. He's fed up. He's a pissed off dinosaur. He goes up to Christian Cage, and it seems like he's finally had enough of his shit. He has had enough of his shit. Like, he's done taking orders from him.
He's a pissed off dinosaur.
Yeah, he's a pissed off dinosaur. You ever see them? They'll eat you.
Yeah, no, they do, especially if you watch them in Jurassic Park. So, yeah.
So Luchasaurus wraps his hands around Christian Cage's throat. It looks like we're finally going to see it. I'm going crazy. The audience is going crazy. But no, we can't have nice things because he shoves Christian Cage to the side. He grabs Kyle O'Reilly. He chokeslams him, puts Cage on top of him, and Christian has won the Gauntlet.
And a world title shot. A Money in the Bank style contract that he can cash in at any time he wants.
Didn't we just see Christian Cage challenge for the world championship?
I don't think so. No. We totally did. It was at Double or Nothing. I'm sorry. Fuck me. Yeah.
Strickland.
Uh-huh.
when they did it there, I understood. Christian Cage is a good, nice, easy heel to have a great first title defense against. And considering what we got at the end of the show, they probably want to go back to that.
Yeah.
But there are so many other people that could have won this match.
Well, you don't understand. Christian Cage is Tony Khan's favorite wrestler, so he wants to give Christian the main event push that he thought he deserved back at WrestleMania 18. So now, that's why Christian's getting such a hefty push.
Now I get it. Look, I understand. I'm working myself right now. Because if you're pissed off that Christian Cage won, congratulations. He's doing his job well.
Good.
But this is kind of in the sense of anybody else. Like, I don't want to sound like that guy. I'm not sitting here not appreciating Christian Cage's work because this dude has had a career resurgence. I get it. But it just would have been nice to see somebody else.
Big time. Big time. But he holds up the contract. He's on Kill Switch's shoulders. I'm going to give this Casino Gauntlet match 4 stars. If AEW keeps doing this match, like, let's say every All In from this point on, it's a fun concept. And I think it's enough to really, like, sell the pay-per-view by itself, just like the Royal Rumble was. So
this was really fun. Not going to lie, I'm not going to say the finish hurt my rating of it, but I'm going to give it 3.5 stars because I thought it was very fun and a very bold move, putting a match of this caliber just kind of smack dab in the middle of the card like this. I mean, It's not a Royal Rumble, but it's kind of being treated like one. I agree with you that I would like to see a little more focus put on this. Like, don't straight up copy WWE. Don't make a pay-per-view called Casino Gauntlet or something like that and make this like the focal point. But I think AEW is onto something here with this match.
Totally. And like the feud that they've done on TV, like the one where Ospreay won to set up his international title shot against Roddy at Double or Nothing, that was a great Casino Gauntlet match as well. So I think they're really onto something here. So I think like the more they try things in these Gauntlet matches and the more they keep doing it, they're really gonna hone down the like the whole concept of it. So I think they have a solid ass match here.
Absolutely. This was a lot of fun. I really did enjoy this match.
I agree. Hey, speaking of Will Ospreay, what do we got now?
Up next in the highly anticipated rematch, we have the hometown boy, Will Ospreay, challenging Maxwell Jacob Friedman for the American Championship. How did we get here?
The United States Championship. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. That's literally what it says. It's the United States Championship.
Will Ospreay and MJF had a barn burner of
Holy shit, that match on Dynamite 250. Remember when everybody was like, why are they giving this match away on free TV? To set this match up and to also give you an hour fucking clinic for free. That's insane. That is insane.
The then known International Championship was won by Maxwell Jacob Friedman on that episode of Dynamite after there was like, what, a couple minutes left on the clock? MJF
couple seconds. A couple seconds. 59-58 is when MJF won.
And MJF wins the title. He rechristens it as the American Championship because he said America is the greatest country in the world and all those other countries don't matter. It's kind of like, someone brought up a good point. It was kind of like a reversed foreign heel gimmick. And I like that.
Yeah.
It was super cool to see like the douchebag heel be from America and praising America. So Will Ospreay, his goal is to win back the international or the American. He wants to win back the championship in front of his hometown, in front of his homeland. And, you know, this was probably the best setup match they could have done for him.
Yeah, and these entrances as well. This match has felt like the biggest deal so far, if not just based on the presentation. Will Ospreay comes out first as the challenger, and since he's the aerial assassin, and because AEW loves to tie in sponsorships, Will Ospreay has an Assassin's Creed style entrance. Assassin's Creed Shadows hitting the PlayStation Plus platforms in November. I think it's on sale in stores everywhere in November. So they wanted to plug the game and they wanted to have Will Ospreay be the poster boy for it. And hey, good for him, man. I'm sure this was such a cool experience for him to do. Love this entrance.
Yeah. Super cool. And then MJF's entrance. You gotta, oh my God. Like, this was like Apollo Creed level of patriotism.
The only thing missing was James Brown singing Living in America. That was the only thing missing from this entrance, and we would have gotten a Rocky IV level style of patriotism. That's what I think. So MJF is also wearing Lex Luger inspired print on his ring gear, which I think is a really fucking like hilarious touch. And I don't think they thought through MJF's whole entrance per se logistically, because MJF does his little pose in the ring like he does when he's introduced. And then you just have red, white, and blue streamers just hanging from the configuration above the ring, and it's that way through the rest of the show. Like they did not think that through.
It was literally in the beginning of this match. It was almost as bad as like Ring of Honor streamers that you would used to be able to throw at wrestlers.
I think this was worse.
Three that had to clean that shit up. Well, yeah, because this was in a stadium.
Yeah, it was way worse. They didn't think about it. So,
hey, Zach, have you ever had the pleasure of throwing streamers at a wrestler before?
No.
I have. It is
really?
So much fun. You get a little rush. Not gonna lie.
Oh,
I
fuck
forgot
yeah.
who I did it for. It may have been for Jeff Cobb, but I remember I was at a show and someone started passing out the streamers, and I was like, "Oh fuck yeah!" Or maybe it was Timothy Thatcher. I've done it before at an AEW show.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That's where I would like maybe one of their farewell shows before they went off to the big leagues.
No, I don't think so. I think it was just him wrestling.
No, that's usually what happens though, and the reason why like independent shows like PWG hand out streamers, because I remember when Kevin Owens had his farewell match in PWG, like they threw so many streamers into the ring and he rolled around in all the streamers and he came up looking like the Yeti.
Nice.
So, yeah.
But anyway, I just want that kind of popped into my mind. I'm like, I missed that. But not in a stadium per se. Not in a stadium.
Mm-hmm. So this match was amazing. I don't think this was nearly as good or as memorable as the first match that they had on Dynamite, because that had only 2 seconds left to spare when MJF won, and everybody's going to remember that.
This still was an excellently wrestled match.
These guys' chemistry is out of this damn world. MJF is a perfect scumbag heel. He's our scumbag. He always will be. And Will Ospreay, I've said it before and I'll say it again, much like AJ Styles was in early TNA, Will Ospreay is a reason for you to tune into AEW week after week. He makes this product must-see, just because of how incredible he is.
As the biggest star in the company, and I love that.
Yeah. MJF, I'm sure you loved this. He actually hits a kangaroo kick.
But he was making fun of it, and I like that, because it is
a kangaroo kick. Like, why is that so over? I don't get it, Tomas. Why is the kangaroo kick so over?
I'm glad it's not a babyface thing anymore, because it was stupid.
What do you mean it was stupid? I thought it was hilarious. Did a kangaroo kick to people, even though he's not Australian.
You know what I loved? MJF, he's super mad, and Will Ospreay's on the outside, and he goes like, "You like Will Ospreay because he does fucking dives? Well, I can fucking do dives too. Watch this." He goes through a suicide dive, but it gets countered.
You think you're special because you can do dives? Well, you ain't shit. I can do it too.
Yeah, it's like, MJF just knows how to do this heel shit.
Yeah. Oh, good Lord, he does. Will Ospreay ends up hitting a phenomenal forearm as well for a nice solid near fall. He hits a Cody cutter as well for some reason.
Cutter.
I did that just to piss you off. MJF gives Will a sick tombstone on the outside too, wasn't it? That was a sick ass move. Loved it.
These two, these are two of the wrestlers that they just try to kill each other.
Yeah, Max also hits a crossroads on Will for a 2 count, and much like Roman Reigns would say at WrestleMania 40, you know what? That move sucks. That never beats anybody.
Yeah, that was great. That was great.
I'm sure if MJF could say that without feeling like a WWE copycat, he absolutely would have. So, and I'm sure Cody would not have minded his friend shouting him out either. So,
Oh no. The fact that he calls it the crossroads, I feel like, is a nice nod to him.
Oh yeah. So Will is eventually starting to make his comeback. Oz Cutter, Stormbreaker as well. There was a point where fucking Canadian Destroyer on the apron, man. Oh man, that was awesome.
It was MJF that delivered that, right?
Yes.
And I feel like it'd be fair to call it a Long Island Destroyer, because MJF hates every other country except America. for the time being.
I
But
mean,
MJF like leaps off the second rope, jumps off of the apron, and just flawlessly executes that move. Oh no, he's still calling it the Panama Sunrise, despite hating Adam Cole now. Got to keep those friends under, got to keep those friends close.
Oh yeah, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Yeah.
I hate your guts and I kicked your ass a few times, but I still love you. He still loves Cody Rhodes.
He still does love Cody. Who doesn't? Who wouldn't love Cody? Will then jumps off the apron for a hidden blade attack on MJF. Max moves out of the way, and Will completely obliterates this poor cameraman on the outside with the hidden blade. And Will is just so shaken up about it that at this point in the story, I feel like Will should refuse to hit the hidden blade because he knocked that cameraman loopy. That was sick.
If Will Ospreay truly wanted to be the number one babyface in AEW, he would have hit that hidden blade on the cameraman. He would have got down and said, "I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Get up.
We gotta finish this."
Camera vibe.
What, is the cameraman your best friend? Was he the best man at your wedding? Like, what was his deal?
I'm pretty sure if Cody Rhodes hit a cameraman, he would be crying.
Yeah. So Will starts to tease hitting the Tiger Driver. MJF spoils all the fans' hopes and dreams by taking him to Dick Kick City. The referee was down, so Bryce Remsburg could not disqualify MJF for the low blow. MJF wants to use brass knuckles that he had in his tights, but somebody stops him. Now, it should be noted that on social media, MJF, before this match even started, had said, "Somebody has stolen the Dynamite Diamond Ring. There will be repercussions." So he couldn't use the diamond ring, but he still had some tricks in his pants, if you will. That sounded very wrong. But
in between this show and Bash in Berlin, what is with these wrestlers putting shit in their trunks and just get sweaty and balls sweat and now they're touching it?
Gross.
We stop doing that. Put it in your boot. Or at least wear. I don't know.
Nasty.
After seeing the bracelet and Drew McIntyre's balls, Punk's bloody hand.
Jesus Christ! Why are we laughing about this so much? Are we 12? Are we 12? Anyway, who's the one to stop MJF from using the foreign object but Daniel Garcia, the target of MJF's grudge lately? MJF has been telling Daniel that he's not realizing his full potential. And then Daniel Garcia eventually does reveal that he was the one who took the Dynamite Diamond Ring. He had it in his pocket, in his hoodie the entire time. Will Ospreay then finally hits the hidden blade on MJF. Yeah?
I have an issue with this. There's a little bit of inconsistency when it comes to this part of the story, because on Dynamite, Daniel Garcia comes out and he reveals, "I was the one who stole the Dynamite Diamond Ring. I pawned it off at a pawn shop like in Brooklyn so I could afford a ticket to get to London."
Yeah, that's a plot hole. That's a plot hole, isn't it? He would have had to have already have given away the Dynamite Diamond Ring and not shown MJF.
Also, MJF said that he lost the ring in London.
Ain't that the truth?
You mean to tell me that Tony Khan is not paying you enough that you have to pawn off something that you stole to afford a plane ticket?
Oh, the storyline. This storyline, man. Yeah, so I understand that this feud is probably going to be used to propel Daniel Garcia into that next level, because Chris Jericho did such a fucking awesome job at elevating him that now they're going to have MJF do the honors. But with that said, MJF is spooked by this. Ospreay sneaks up from behind him, hits him with a hidden blade, and then he finally hits the Tiger Driver after 5 months worth of storyline. MJF takes it like a champ. Will Ospreay pins him, and he rechristens the American Championship back to the International Championship again. This match was excellent. I'm going 4.5 stars on this. I don't think it was nearly as good as the Dynamite 250 match, but absolutely loved it. Will Ospreay cannot go wrong with him. Cannot go wrong with him.
Yes, this was an excellent match. I loved, finally, at the end, Will Ospreay hitting the Tiger Driver, and who better to hit it on a person than MJF? I thought this was an excellently wrestled match. The story was absolutely amazing. And I did love at the very end when Will Ospreay was about to be awarded the championship and he said, "No, absolutely not." He knew he was going to win this match, and he is given, the velvet bag, and he reintroduces the International Championship. It's a great story of this championship will not be relegated to one country. This championship is for everybody. I don't care where you're from, what color you are, what language you speak. If you want to fight for this title, you can. So it's a great, again, a reverse foreign heel gimmick.
Love it. Love it. And now MJF is renouncing his American heritage, and he's like, I don't give a shit about this country. I never give a shit about this country. You're such a hypocrite, Max. You're such a hypocrite. You're so full of shit.
He's a good heel for a reason.
Yeah, but this excellent match. I mean, I think this was the best match on the show up to this point. Let's have these two just wrestle like every time. I mean, I don't want them to wrestle every night because just like the Bucks and FTR, that match would get old very fast. But for what we got, this was excellent. Excellent chemistry between these two.
This gets 4.5 stars. This would be my match of the night, but something else kind of happened on the show.
Yep. And I'm sure I'm thinking of the same thing. It was certainly not the next contest here for the TBS Championship. Mercedes Moné. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, Mercedes Moné defending against Dr. Britt Baker, D.M.D. Okay, I alluded to it earlier. Tony Khan, Mercedes Moné is not your most important woman on the roster because she is not carrying the goddamn World Championship. You gave her a mid-card belt on day one. And this is another thing I'm so bothered by. Toni Storm and Mariah May spent a whole fucking year building up a story for this Women's World Championship, and yet Mercedes comes in and takes in all the glory, and now she's the face of the women's division with a mid-card belt.
So not only that, can we agree that the build to this match was a fucking dumpster fire?
Yeah.
Because it's time to talk about this. Britt Baker and MJF were caught fighting backstage like little children, and Tony Khan had to separate them. In adult terms, that means they got suspended. So this match was kind of up in the air if it was even going to happen. Apparently her suspension was only for a couple of weeks because Tony Khan realized, oh shit, she's kind of booked in a big match. And I didn't really watch any of the builds of this match, so I'm not sure what happened. But when I heard about Britt Baker's suspension, that's the first thing I thought was, well, now this title match is kind of in jeopardy. After Britt Baker came back to such a huge fanfare, I still think she has a lot of gas left in the tank. Adam Cole is there. She's got, she's kind of she has a legacy in AEW.
She does.
And here she is potentially throwing it away. Now, I don't know who was wrong and who was right in the situation. Apparently, MJF truly is a scumbag backstage, and they had a falling out as friends. But it was just such a weird dumpster fire situation here. And honestly, when I heard about the suspension, it took out any excitement I had for this match because MJF and Britt Baker both got put in the doghouse for this. So
now, I don't think this match and this whole build was entirely Britt Baker's fault. Because listen, I love Britt. Again, as someone who's met her before, I don't really see any politicking coming out of her. I put out on Twitter, day of the show, I was like, it really bugs me that Toni Storm and Mariah May were given the second spot on the show, and this is second to last or third to last or whatever it was. And there were certain other YouTubers who agreed with me, and they actually replied to me, that sounds like politics to me. Sounds like a big heaping pile of politics. And I'm like, not Britt's fault though. Not Britt's fault. Because if you look at the two in the room right there, who is the one who has been pegged as Tony Khan's golden child, Tomas? Who is it?
It's Mercedes Moné.
Yeah. So, and again, another reason why this feud was such a dumpster fire, when Britt was suspended, that basically left Mercedes and her disastrously written promos to build up this match all on its own. And I'm sorry, Mercedes, I know she has her fans out there. God, she bugs the shit out of me, man. And the fact that she has to bring in a writer who is working in 2021, 2022 WWE to do her promos, that's not a good move. It just makes you come across so fake. Yeah, and I hate to use that word. I hate to use that word for anything wrestling. It's fake.
I get that.
Sorry.
And at the same time, it is also very frustrating that that's the reason she left WWE in the first place, is that she was irritated with her booking. Then why is bringing in a writer any better for you that literally was working with Vince McMahon to help come up with the terrible shit you were given to work with?
It makes her come off like a hypocrite, doesn't she?
Yeah. So I feel like we've touched on this before, but I feel like I need to touch on it again. Mercedes Moné is a good wrestler.
Yes.
She had some great matches in WWE. My issue with her is how she left WWE. Not my issue with her leaving WWE. Like, good for her. It's very bold to slam your title on a table and tell, the executive vice president to go fuck himself. I'm out of here. And to go out there and, take the Cody Rhodes route, see if you can succeed other places. But it just really feels like she's done a whole lot of nothing while out there. And when she comes to these places like New Japan, like AEW, she really thinks she is the biggest star in wrestling. When that isn't the case, it just feels like she's living off of her WWE stock. And again, she's not a bad worker per se, but I can just list off so many other better wrestlers than her. And she is like a Brock Lesnar contract. I'm sorry, honey. You ain't no Brock Lesnar.
No. And really, she thinks she's the biggest star in wrestling? Well, Cody would like to have a word with you. Yeah. Roman Reigns would like to have a word with you. Seth Rollins
Rhea Ripley would like to have a word with you.
Becky Lynch would like to have a word with you. Charlotte Flair would like to have a word with you. Bayley, your best friend, would like to have a word with you.
The fact that she was demanding a Charlotte Flair level contract to come back to WWE, I'm sorry, she's not worth the money.
No.
Pun intended.
Not worth it.
But with that being said, her entrance was pretty cool. I got to admit, her entrance was pretty cool.
Why? Because she had a bunch of corgis? I'm trying to tug at my heartstrings.
Those are her corgis, by the way. Well, that is Ryu Maivia, and I forgot the other one's name.
Well, it's no.
Her dog's name is Ryu Maivia.
It's no Pharaoh making his entrance with Cody Rhodes, but. And I'm sure some of you in the comments, like AEW cocksuckers down there, are asking me, "Oh, well, what's the difference between Mercedes and Cody here?" Cody had to earn that top spot.
Let's list all of the promotions Cody works for after WWE before going to AEW. He did Ring of Honor, he did TNA, he did Evolve, he did Progress, he did Revolution Pro, he did so many countless other shows. Like, he was really working the indie circuit because he loved wrestling. Mercedes Moné, sure, she did New Japan. Sure, she did Stardom. But she was only doing the big level stuff, and it just truly came off ingenuine.
You also want to know what a big difference is? Cody Rhodes, after the WWE shows are done, after he's finished working the main events and the dark matches, he will wait until the security has to tell him to leave. He will meet as many fans that set floor level as he can. He cares about the fans that pay their money to actually see.
Meanwhile, Mercedes Moné will charge you over $100 for a photo and won't let you get
more than that.
Of her, and then she will scream at you at her book signing.
More than that, Mercedes does not give three shits about her fans. So
it just feels like a guy like Cody Rhodes does it for the love, and it feels like Mercedes Moné does it for the money. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it really does.
Which, listen, there's nothing wrong with that. But if your personality reflects that and you come off like a prima donna, then yeah.
With that being said,
there's a difference.
This match wasn't very good.
Yeah. Toni Storm and Mariah May wipes the floor with them quality-wise. And I'm sorry, if we're talking more about the build and how much of a bitch Mercedes is, then yeah, I'm sorry, because there's really not much else to talk about. I mean, Britt did make a comeback here and there. She hit a Panama Sunrise and a curb stomp at one point.
Can I talk about one spot that I truly did enjoy, though?
Yeah.
So we forgot to mention that Mercedes Moné's heater is Camille, former NWA.
Oh, I love this. She held
that championship for like 500 days. There's a reason why they call her the Brick House. She is amazing. I'm a little disappointed she didn't go to WWE. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I hope Tony Khan uses her well. Having her start off is basically as Mercedes Moné's Diesel. It's a start. I just don't want her to end up like Wardlow. I don't want her to be female Wardlow. I get it. She's truly a strong silent type. She was originally Nick Aldis's heater in NWA in the early days of Power. That's true. She really got over. But in the ring, she was truly just squash everybody, and she was truly a monster. I know I'm using the word truly a lot. I catch myself doing that from time to time. But I just see potential in Camille, and I hope they do her right in AEW. But with that being said, it was really being teased if Camille was going to be the reason why Britt Baker lost this match. And she almost did. She came up on the apron She's also holding the New Japan Strong Women's Championship, which isn't hers. It's Mercedes Moné. Why not just give her all the fucking titles while we're at it? But
Might as well. Might as well.
While the ref is, while Mercedes Moné is distracted, well, no, who is distracted? The referee is distracted. Britt Baker pulls the whole Eddie Guerrero trick. She slams to the mat. She holds her head. And when the ref turns around, she says Camille hit her. And Camille is fighting with the ref saying she didn't do anything. Camille gets ejected from ringside. And probably my favorite call of the night, Toni Schiavone says, Britt Baker basically told Mercedes Moné, you're not the only one who learned from Eddie Guerrero. And that got a huge pop from the crowd.
Yeah. And she claims that Eddie Guerrero was her idol. And yeah, listen, Eddie Guerrero is a great influence. But again, don't act like you're the biggest, like, product to come out of the Eddie Guerrero learning tree, if you will. Dominic Mysterio would like to have a word with you. Andrade would like to have a word with you.
Yeah.
Hell, I'll say his name. Alberto Del Dipshit would like to have a word with you. So, yeah, there you go. There you go. That's what I have to say about Mercedes. But she hits her shitty finisher, and then it's a, it's
Moné maker.
It's a shitty finisher. At least I like her as a submission specialist more. So,
but it is called the Moné maker.
This match went way too long, 2 3/4 stars. I thought it was okay. Not Britt's fault by any stretch.
17 minutes. That was way too fucking long.
Yeah.
Do you think if Britt Baker didn't get herself in trouble, she would have won this match? I'm going to say no.
Fuck yeah!
Khan is going to ride on Mercedes Moné for a very long time. But here's the thing. This is what I want to know. Is she drawing? Are people going to the shows to see Mercedes Moné? Is her merch flying off the shelves?
No.
Are people looking at a pay-per-view and going, wow, Mercedes Moné is there. I'm going to shell out the $50. I'm going to tell you right now, I didn't buy this pay-per-view for Mercedes Moné. I bought this pay-per-view for Bryan Danielson.
Yep. Bingo. And again, another difference, Bryan Danielson at least cares about his fans, and he's not, like, rubbing in. Like, Danielson did not want to become the world champion either. He's not in it because he wants all the fame and the glory. He's in it because he loves the art of wrestling. So
now that we're done talking about Zack's favorite wrestler in the world, Mercedes Moné, and how he's going to spend $200 to meet her at WrestleCon. Now that we're done talking about that,
don't even give her $200. If you want to meet her, fine, but I'm not recommending that you shill out $200. Like, use that for your rent somewhere, please. I beg you.
Up next is a coffin match for the TNT Championship. Jack Perry is defending against Darby Allin. I like how they set up this match. In Blood and Guts, Jack Perry was held up against a cage wall, handcuffed to it, and Darby Allin basically told him, I'm going to smash your fucking head in with the chair again if you don't give me a TNT title shot. So Perry is forced to give Darby Allin this championship match, and then Perry attacks Allin backstage on an episode of Dynamite, pins him underneath one of those those chain roll-up doors. And I like this because the security actually did their job. Perry was about to slam an equipment case against Perry's head, and security in front of him and basically stopped him. Finally, pro wrestling security actually doing their job.
I'm physically sweating right now. I'm physically sweating right now. I'm sorry, but so this match, I mean, I was expecting at least some level of brutality here. Darby Allin, like, especially so, because this fucker was looking to climb Mount Everest earlier this year, and he still hasn't done that. So
he also had thumbtacks glued to his head.
I'm hoping that this guy doesn't go on his suicide mission at all. But I mean,
I'm gonna let you get back to that. But I saw that. I saw like the thumbtacks glued to his face, and I just thought, if I was a wrestler and I was wrestling Darby Allin and he didn't tell me he was doing that, I'd be fucking pissed.
Yeah.
Because you're looking at this, and if you're Jack Perry, you got to think, well, I can't punch him at all because I'm going to hit thumbtacks.
This guy. You don't understand, Tomas. Jungle Boy is a dumbass heel, and he punched Darby anyway, and he started selling the thumbtacks. he comes out like Pinhead.
Perry probably was aware that Darby Allin was going to do this. But if I was a wrestler, I'd be like, God fucking damn it, Darby Allin. Can we go one match? One match without you do something fucking weird like this?
Doing a suicide dive and, like, hitting the coffin instead of Jack Perry? Like, come on, man.
That was crazy. That was really crazy. But this match was, I'm not going to lie, I expected more.
Yeah, it was very short. It only went about 10 minutes or so. But the thing that I feel like most people remember about this is Jack Perry pulling out one of those hemp bags, the sustainable hemp that Bryan Danielson, I'm sure, was promoting backstage. Jack Perry pours out the contents, and it's real glass. Go cry me a river. Jack Perry, get the fuck over it. Seriously.
You got to admit, they had to. They had to do it here.
Well, obviously, yeah. No, I was expecting it. But again, it's like, get the fuck over it, man.
You know what, Zack? Cry me a river.
No, I will cry you as much of a river as I want to. I want these fuckers. I want these fuckers to move on, man.
It was real glass, Zack. Cry me a river.
I mean, yeah, it's real glass. What, you're
the
gonna
only way Jack Perry could truly get over this is if he got on TV and said, "I'll admit it, it wasn't real glass. I realized the error of my ways, and that you were just trying to look out for me and protect me."
God, could you imagine?
I am sorry, Phil. Let's go fishing in a river and cry from laughter, friend.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Yeah, it wasn't actually real glass. I did it. It was a trick. It was all a trick.
And he apologizes to CM Punk. And
yes.
He says, "Let's go fishing in a river and cry from laughter, friend."
Yeah. So
in an alternate universe,
Jack Perry throws Darby Allin off this stage, and this is like a 15-foot drop off the stage through some tables, and then he pulls out a body bag. He puts Darby Allin in the body bag, dragging him over to where the coffin is by ringside area, and he puts Darby, while he's in the body bag, inside the coffin. Like, why do you need a coffin if you're gonna just put him in a body bag? Darby then sits up, and he looks like a freaking zombie coming out of there. And it makes me legit wonder if he was one of the Lumberjacks back in 2021 when Damian Priest and The Miz had that match. But he's sitting up. He's looking like an undead being that can't be killed. Then Jack Perry just hits him with a weapon or something and then closes the lid. And, yeah, he retains the belt. I mean, it's pretty academic here. A pretty predictable finish as well, because Jack Perry just made this custom scapegoat TNT championship, so he's not losing that shit anytime soon.
No, and I feel like everybody has a custom championship. They're starting to lose their flair a little.
Little bit. I mean, at least to Merce.
Jack Perry, he made it on his own. He even posted a video on it. He did everything. Like, this fool is a regular blacksmith. It was pretty impressive to watch. I'm not gonna lie. It was like, it was a video that I would like fall asleep to. It was super cool to watch.
It's freaking satisfying ASMR is what it is.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it
was. Yeah, the match was okay. I mean, I wouldn't say it was bad, but
I'll give it 3 stars.
Yeah, I'll go 3. This was better than the Mercedes match, that's for sure. But with that said, Jack Perry is celebrating the win, and then the Evie Petties run out to celebrate with him, and then they start throwing lighter fluid into the coffin, or on the coffin, and then they open up the lid again, even though Jack Perry just closed it on Darby Allin. They pour lighter fluid into the body bag with Darby inside of it. Jack Perry gets the lighter out, and then the lights go out in the arena. This was so cool, Tomas. This was so cool, if you want to talk about it.
Yes, I do. First, I need you to pick door number 1 or door number 2.
Door number 1.
Okay. Lights go out. Metallica hits, and it's Sting!
It's Sting!
The icon, fresh off of his retirement, he makes his heroic return to AEW, and he's here to save his son, because he may not be there every week to protect him, but God damn it, that's his son, and he's going to help him every chance he gets.
I thought that was his nephew.
No.
Uncle Steve.
That is his son. If you mess with Darby Allin, Sting will come out and say, "Don't ever talk to me or my son ever again."
No. Sting's sons are actually training to wrestle right now. And you know Tony Khan is chomping at the bit to sign them.
Well, Darby Allin is his adopted son. And you cannot...
Yeah. It was pretty poetic, though, that Sting was out there running out to save the day from the Elite. The guys who had his retirement match at Revolution. And what I think is actually a fucking amazing send-off.
It was.
Yeah, doing a double Scorpion Death Drop once again to the Young Bucks, giving them one last FU before they move on from this feud.
And also, by Sting's appearance, that man is enjoying retirement.
Oh, yeah. He's enjoying the fruits of his labor.
That he doesn't have to dye his hair anymore. He doesn't have to uphold a certain image. Sting is the hero we don't deserve. And I'll say it again, Sting how he handles himself, his post-career, is what Hulk Hogan should be doing. And I think if you want to look up to somebody, if you have a small child and you want to show him like wrestling's yesteryear, and if you want to show him, hey, this is a guy you want to look up to, it's Sting.
Yeah, because I'm sure history's textbooks are going to make Hulk Hogan look to be the most pathetic ass, especially considering what he was doing a month ago. But anyway, yeah, Sting is somebody that you should look up to. Yeah, no question about it.
What Sting would say have to say about that? He would say, I agree. I agree.
I agree. I agree. Jeff Hardy should not have been drinking.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But a very satisfying finish there post-match, which is really cool. And now we have the main event. And this was quite the doozy, wasn't it?
Oh boy, wasn't it. Swerve Strickland defending the AEW World Championship against Bryan Danielson. Two Seattle boys going at it in the main event in the stadium. Bryan Danielson says that if he does not win the AEW Championship this time, he is retiring. This is it. So he
raised a lot of questions. First of all, Bryan Danielson won the men's tournament, the Owen Cup tournament, to get this championship match. And this raised so many questions because Bryan Danielson last year made it very clear. He made a promise to his daughter, Birdie, that this would be the last year he was as a full-time competitor. And we know that Bryan Danielson's retirement is on the horizon because he's actually working without a contract right now. His contract came up before this pay-per-view. And for him to make that claim that he was going to retire if he didn't win the championship just made the match super unpredictable. Because I'm thinking, well, he said that, so he's going to win the championship. But he's not signed to AEW. How long will he hold that championship? Maybe he'll lose. Maybe he'll give Swerve Strickland the biggest rub ever. But this would be a huge moment for him if he won the title. And I honestly love unpredictability in pro wrestling. I truly went into not knowing who was going to win. And props to Swerve Strickland. He knew the task at hand. He knew how over Bryan Danielson was going to be. And he fucking turned on heel mode again. And
he did.
Full-blown heel for this match. He absolute shit out of Wheeler Yuta on an episode of Dynamite. And he looked at Danielson and said, don't bring your wife and kid to All In, because if you think what I did to Wheeler Yuta was bad, it ain't nothing compared to what I'm going to do to you. So Swerve Strickland just deserves all the credit. He went into this match as such a credible world champion.
He is really AEW's answer to Roman Reigns right now, just based on his aura, if I could use the term that all the youngsters are right now. But Danielson clearly did not take Swerve's advice because he brought Bree to All In. He flew in Birdie. He flew in Buddy. They're sitting front row. And Swerve is beating up Danielson on the outside. And Swerve is actually yelling at little Birdie right there. And he's like, oh, your dad's gonna beat me, huh? This is what he asked for.
Fucking kidding me?
This is what he asked for.
No. You need to tell me that his name is Brian. He's married to a girl named Bree, and they named their kids Buddy and Birdie.
Yeah,
they really like the letter B.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? They
really like the letter B, don't they?
Yeah, and Birdie being the name of their first daughter, yeah, they're a very earthy couple. So,
would you be intimidated by a woman named Birdie?
Ask me that if she gets into the business. So.
I'll ask you that question in like 20 years from now. Remind me, put a stamp on it. In 2044, we're gonna circle back to this.
Anyway,
what about a girl named Izzy?
What about? Well, I mean, it depends. It depends on which Izzy you're talking about. But anyway, this match was fucking incredible. The best match of Swerve Strickland's career. I'm just gonna say that right now. Danielson has put on many 5-star clinics throughout his life, and again, that added level of unpredictability in the match, people are just gravitating towards Bryan. I'm gravitated towards Bryan still.
He truly is the greatest babyface of our generation, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
As this match was amazing, but my two favorite spots in the match is where Danielson was making his comeback. He's getting the shit beaten out of him. Strickland truly is the biggest heel in this match. Kicking Danielson's ass in front of his wife, in front of his daughter. Ready to put the old dog down. Danielson makes his comeback and he goes for the Busaiku knee. He connects, but it just bounces off Swerve Strickland like he was a
Oh
rubber
man.
ball. He falls down, and Strickland just looks down at Danielson and shakes his head and is like, nah, that ain't going to work. And
Man,
that
oh
would have
man.
been such an incredible finish if Strickland would have ended it there.
Man, Danielson, like, putting in so many great submission holds as well. He actually did apply the Regal stretch at one point in homage to one of his mentors. Cattle mutilation, of course. Swerve hits a vertebreaker on Bryan, and this is the point in the match where Dr. Sampson runs down to check on Bryan because of his history of neck problems. So they have that going for them.
I feel at one point Strickland hits 2 house calls, the Swerve stomp, and big pressure, and Danielson still kicks out.
Yes, yeah. So what happens is,
those house calls were fucking stiff.
God, those
not holding back in this match.
Those house calls, like before Swerve hit the second house call, Danielson, Bloody Danielson, by the way, is looking out to Birdie Danielson, and Bloody Danielson looks out to his daughter, and he's like, "I'm sorry." Swerve hits a house call, and I thought that was the fucking finish.
And
I thought that was it.
Love this spot. This sent chills down my spine. So after that, Strickland starts hitting the yes kicks on Danielson. He hits a few. And after every kick, Danielson's getting revitalized. He looks over at his family. And every time Strickland hits a kick, he says, "I love you. I love you so much. Like, I'm doing this for you. This is the reason why I'm taking all this punishment." And he's using his family to strengthen himself to fight back against Strickland. It was, oh my God.
Man, oh
Probably
man.
one of the best feel-good moments in a wrestling match this year.
Mm-hmm. So Swerve, to your point, does hit the big pressure, which has finished every single other one of his championship matches so far. Danielson is the first man to kick out of the big pressure, otherwise known as the JML driver. Swerve taunts Bryan by doing the yes chants as well. And, like, Bryan is actually working on getting the yes chant trademarked so he can actually use it starting in AEW now. How crazy is that?
I did appreciate in the beginning of his AEW run that he wasn't using it because I feel like he needed to get himself over as a babyface without it. And he truly did. And now seeing him slowly introduce it back, it's nice. It's really nice.
So there starts to be a big commotion over by where the commentators are. And then we see Hangman Page run interference. Because, of course, this guy is the biggest hater in AEW. He wants to do anything to make sure that Swerve does not hold on to this title. He throws Prince Nana into the steel ring steps. What did Nana do to you, man? What did Nana ever do to you?
Do you think this was needed, in all honesty? Do you think the run-in was needed? Honestly, it annoyed me a little. And I get why they did it. I'm just glad this wasn't the reason for the... It almost was, and it was going to take the wind out of my sails.
I understood why they did it. I understood.
It was a nice reminder that Swerve Strickland isn't truly a heel. He's not a full-blown heel. He's just a heel for this match.
Correct. And yeah, that's why I wasn't fully bothered by it. And keeping in mind that AEW had another pay-per-view coming up, and we still have another AEW pay-per-view to talk about very soon. Fuck, Tony Khan, stop making me pay $50 a pop. Hangman Page, you know, he provides a distraction. Bryan hits the running knee for a great near fall after that interference.
I'm so glad that wasn't the finish, because I was going to be so fucking mad if it was.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. So like 2 or 3 Busaiku knees in a row, sending Swerve into the turnbuckle. Bryan then locks on the yes lock, and Swerve is in that hold for a good amount of time. Well, I mean, if he ends up trademarking the yes chant, yes, I'm sure he can. I'm sure it'll be the yes lock at some point soon. But then Bryan does a Rings of Saturn thing while still holding onto the yes lock, and Swerve taps out. And 10 years after WrestleMania 30, the Miracle Kid did it again in a stadium. And Bree, Birdie, and Buddy are in the ring celebrating with him. Out comes the BCC, the Bastard Combat Club, to celebrate with him. I like how during the celebration that you just have Pac in the background just kind of looking over like, yeah, you won.
Of Cody and his family taking a picture in front of the Dusty statue. And then you look over and there's Kevin Owens.
Right, yeah, it's so fucking random. But I love that. Yeah, go ahead.
WrestleMania 30, when Bryan Danielson won the main event of WrestleMania, won the WWE Championship, him and Brie weren't even married yet. 10 years later, he has 2 kids, and they're celebrating with him this time. And I hate to attack your feels right now, Zach, but Connor the Crusher is looking down, and he got to see his hero do it again.
Oh God, yeah, no, Man, yeah, if Connor the Crusher was here to enjoy this, holy crap. That would have made this moment all the better.
I don't even want to think about how old he'd be right now.
No, 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 no.
No, we don't want to think about that.
No, no. But I love how during this celebration, Danielson was more concerned about playing with his kids than he was about holding the title.
Oh no,
Like,
that's funny because Brian wants to celebrate with his kids, and Buddy is too preoccupied with the confetti in the ring.
well,
Like,
yeah,
and
he's a
literally
toddler.
get him to focus.
Yeah, he's a toddler. You have to expect it. And Brian is too concerned about playing with Buddy. And after the show went off the air, he actually teased like hitting a Tiger Driver on Buddy, and like Bree had to stop him. You know, like it was.
He brought Birdie to the press conference, and Birdie said it was the greatest day of her life, which was so cool.
And fucking Meltzer during the scrum actually asked the question to Birdie at the scrum, and he was like, do you think you could travel to Australia? Would you like to go to Australia? He's like trying to like hint that Danielson has more dates in him. So, and then Danielson was like, I know what you're doing here, buddy.
I don't want to be this guy, but it has to be addressed. It really does.
Yeah.
I get the tribalism. Like it's a thing that we all have to deal with. But if Bryan Danielson goes out of his way to say this is his favorite wrestling moment of all time, keep your fucking mouth shut. Keep your opinion to yourself. Look, you can have your favorite. And if this was Meltzer or some other jabroni on Twitter saying that was the greatest moment of Danielson's career, and you said, I actually disagree. I think WrestleMania 30 was better. That's fine. But this is Danielson's memory.
Danielson himself.
No, Danielson, you're wrong. Your favorite memory was WrestleMania 30. You could ask him, you enjoyed this more than WrestleMania 30? You can ask professional questions and have respect for the man. But if Danielson said that winning the world championship at Wembley Stadium with his wife and 2 kids there is his favorite moment of all time, keep your fucking dumbass opinion to yourself.
Bingo. Took the words right out of my mouth.
2 followers on Twitter. Fucking hell, man. Fucking hell.
Yeah. No, yeah. Keep your mouth shut. If Danielson himself says that this is his favorite moment, let the man fucking be.
That's like if I said my favorite movie is Spider-Man No Way Home, and you came up to me and said, no, your favorite movie is Endgame. Like, what the fuck? I just said what my favorite movie is.
Yeah.
My dick. Or if I said, oh, the greatest moment of my life is, I don't know, graduating. And you said, no, your favorite memory in history is when you saw, I don't know, someone in concert. I don't know. You get my point. I'm rambling at this point. Mm-hmm. How could you not give this 5 stars? How can you not?
I mean, I think this is AEW's best match they've put on this year, aside from Danielson and Ospreay at Dynasty. Like, it had the emotional effect, it had the storytelling, it had the violence, it had the technicality. Really, not much more you can ask for in this. Now, I understand that the Hangman interference might have been a bit contrived, but I think given who Swerve is in character and the fact that he was assuming a heel role, like, it was fine. Like, it didn't offend me to the point where, like, if it was the finish and Hangman's interference was the reason why Swerve lost, yeah, that would have been a problem for me. I'm glad Danielson beat Swerve clean as a whistle.
Yes.
But,
you know what this reminded me of? This reminded me of Lesnar and Eddie from No Way Out. How Goldberg wasn't the reason why Lesnar lost.
Correct.
And Eddie still won the title on his own.
Bingo. And that match was also 5 stars for me. And Eddie beat Lesnar. I mean, still cheating because it's Eddie Guerrero, right? But he didn't
win from interference.
He didn't win because Goldberg helped him. He won because he's Eddie Guerrero, and he outsmarted Brock Lesnar in character.
And Danielson,
great story,
because Danielson's a better wrestler.
Yep.
On that night, Danielson was a better wrestler.
So this is also something I need to address here. Swerve Strickland only held the title for 4 months. And I understand that there's some people out there who are like, oh, this reign was a failure. Like, he didn't hold the title long enough. No. This is the case where, this is why I was so pissed off when Roman Reigns won at WrestleMania 39. It's not about how long you hold the title. It's what you do while you hold the title. Doesn't matter how long you hold it. If it's for the record books,
tell you, this past year, everything Strickland has done, including winning the world championship and the run that he had, Swerve Strickland is a fucking star. He's a main event star, and nothing can take that away now. He is a made man. He did it. He achieved the status that 95% of wrestlers don't do. And he made it to the main event level, and he's going to stay in the main event level for the rest of his career.
Yep. That's right.
And I hope you like you some Swerve Strickland like I do, because he just signed a brand new spanking deal with AEW. So
cool. And he's got a blood feud that is probably not wrapping up yet, but he's got a steel cage match scheduled against Hangman Page at All Out. That should be a lot of fun. Bryan Danielson's first title defense is against fucking Jungle Boy in Chicago. So I don't know. But
with that being said, now we gotta speculate. Danielson is gonna wrap up wrestling very soon, as sad as it is to announce. Now we just gotta wait and see when he drops the title and who he drops the title to.
Correct.
Apparently he has 3 opponents on deck right now in Jack Perry, Darby Allin, and remember, Christian Cage is running around with that title shot. And let me tell you, there's a side of me that is going to absolutely fucking lose it if Christian Cage is the one to take it off them. But at the same time, could you even imagine achieving that level of heat?
Oh man, I couldn't. If Cage was the one to retire Daniel Bryan, yeah. That is, what a fucking sentence. Christian Cage retiring Daniel Bryan, yeah.
Nuclear heat. Imagine saying that 10 years ago.
No.
Imagine looking at Christian, who was just retired because of concussions, and looking at Danielson winning the WWE title. Imagine going in a time machine, tapping yourself on the shoulder, like, did you like that moment? Yeah. Well, in 10 years from now, Christian's gonna end his career, and then just disappearing into the portal.
Using the
yourself.
Using the time machine that he and Edge built on the road to WrestleMania and SmackDown versus Raw 2011, of course. But yeah. All In 2024, really great show. I'm actually, believe it or not, Tomas, I know we had our fair share to say about some of the lesser things on this show. I'm going with a 9 out of 10. This is a really solid AEW pay-per-view for me. I think it's one of, if not the best AEW show this year. It's right up there with Revolution. Great main event, phenomenal MJF Ospreay match. You had some stuff that I was a bit indifferent about, but overall, super enjoyable.
Between the main event, the women's title match, the Ospreay MJF, the Casino Gauntlet, and the opener, I'm comfortable giving this an 8.25 out of 10. This was very, very good. I had a lot of fun watching this match, and this is, again, one of the better AEW pay-per-views, and it's definitely going to be one of the most memorable.
Yeah. So, well, you know what? It's also not the last AEW pay-per-view we're going to be talking about, because we got All Out coming up already.
We're going all in. We're going all out. We're going all around. It's that time of year for AEW where they make us spend $200 in the span of 2 months for all these goddamn shows. Tony Khan, please announce the Max deal. I already have Max. I don't want to keep spending $50 in pay-per-view, please. My children are starving.
What children? Anyway, hit that subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. Hit that thumbs up as well. As was announced previously on my Karate Kid review, I will be moving very soon, so this background is going to look very different in a month's time. So enjoy the ZNT Wrestling Show while you can in the OG studio, because it is the end of an era at some point.
It is indeed. But until then, we still have stuff to look at. Like we said, we'll be talking about AEW All Out. We'll be looking at NXT No Mercy. We got Backlash 2006 on the horizon.
Yes, we do.
Bad Blood will be next month. The train never ends. It's a never-ending train. It's
never ending. Train.
Somebody call Ozzy.
Yeah, so based on my calculations, the first ZNT show in the new studio should be Bad Blood, but don't take my word on that, but I'm like 90% sure it's going to be Bad Blood. But guys, hit that subscribe button if you're new. Hit that thumbs up as well. He is Tomas. I am Zack. We're the biggest Cody crybabies of all time and the biggest members of the Yes movement that you will ever find. Hit that subscribe button again. Yeah, thank you again for tuning in. Commence that back talk, guys. Take care.